actually does not have sampling systems on it. And that's in part because Little Hercules is going to such extreme depths when compared to ROV Hercules. So Little Hercules just has that MXD camera on the front, so that is the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute by Deep Sea Power and Light camera system that Mikhail was talking about earlier. And so using ROV Hercules is really just a way to get eyes on the seafloor. So we're not collecting any samples, we're just taking a look at what's down there, conducting surveys and transects along the way to really characterize the seafloor. And John, you know exactly what we're looking for, right, along the seafloor? Or are you equally as surprised as we are?
I think there's always something new each and every dive that you're not expecting. So maybe sometimes it's a little subtle, but the last dive I was truly surprised at the number of nodules we were finding perched up on the side of the volcanic knolls we were going up. It was really quite remarkable. And there was a place where the nodules were fairly flat and they were almost stacked sideways. I've never ever seen that before, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it'd be great if Little Herc could do everything, just like Big Herc, but it is little, which means it has a little thrusters, and the more stuff you load onto it, the harder it's going to be to push that spread around. It is theoretically possible, I guess, to convert Little Hercules itself to a 6,000 metre depth rated ROV, but I expect it wouldn't be very cheap. I mean, the syntactic foam, which is the foam on the top that helps provide neutral buoyancy, is made of these tiny glass spheres that will survive a certain amount of pressure, and as you go for deeper depths, you need thicker glass in your spheres, which makes it a lot heavier on the machine. So there's always a bit of a feedback loop which you've got to engineer in, and none of these things come cheap. So it would cost probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to update Herc to 6,000 meters. But Little Herc's great because it does 80–90% of what we want. And part of what you do is, if you know the tools you've got, then you plan the mission around those tools, don't you? So we chose this particular mission for Little Herc because we knew we could address the scientific objectives with imaging. Well, we just didn't expect to get such a great camera, so I was surprised at that as well.
That was a great answer. And a follow-up question to that is, what other ROVs do you use and why? We have a handful of them. So on EV Nautilus, we are kind of standard with Atalanta or Argus. Those are both of our tows. And then ROV Hercules or Little Hercules, right? We're all pretty well acquainted with those. ROV Hercules is a bigger sort of like minivan-sized ROV rated to 4,000 meters with a bunch of different tools and technologies to take samples and visuals of the seafloor. Little Hercules is smaller, has the camera, no sampling technologies currently on it, and rated to a depth of 6,000 meters. We also have Argus. I think I mentioned Argus. Argus and Atalanta are kind of used interchangeably. Those are both the tow sleds, so that's that intermediary ROV between the seafloor and the ship. But we've also brought a lot of other ROVs on board. One of them is Mesobot, so that's a hybrid remote operated vehicle, HROV, that was developed at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, and that's used to visually survey and sample the ocean twilight zone. The twilight zone is also known as the mesopelagic zone, hence the name Mesobot. And it's able to do so without disrupting the environment in which it operates. So there's an extended battery life. It can observe really delicate animals in this twilight zone area for up to 48 hours. And we've deployed Mesobot from EV Nautilus before, and there's some really cool video and launch and recovery footage of Mesobot. We also use the Nereid underwater, or Nereid under ice, excuse me, HROV. So that is also an HROV, or hybrid remote operated vehicle. And this is also a WHOI, or a Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution vessel or vehicle. Nereid's goal is to explore ice shelves and floating sea ice far away from a ship that it's tethered to. So we've deployed NIRID with tethers, with lines kind of leading out from Nautilus. But the goal is to untether it and have it operate as a fully autonomous vehicle to operate in Arctic ice conditions, which is cool because ice is really hard, obviously, to see below, but it's also hard to map, right? We don't really have great maps of the Arctic and Antarctic. So technologies like NIRID or NUI can help with that. And then we also have DRIX. DRIX is an autonomous surface vehicle. It's also deployed from the ship. It's actually on the back deck right now because we're transporting it. And that is used to map more near shore, shallower waters. But that can actually operate in tandem with EV Nautilus. So EV Nautilus can potentially be doing, and other ships of course, can potentially be doing deep sea bathymetry or multi-beam surveys. So mapping at a depth of, 8,000 meters, and then NIRID can be in a shallower environment, operating however far off Nautilus needs to be, and then doing shallow water maps of that area. So yeah, lots of different vehicles. And John, you all work with different vehicles too from the ships that you're typically
Yes.
sailing on, right?
Yeah, there hasn't been a long history of ROV work in the Cook Islands. I think the first ever ROV, and I could be wrong on this, I think it was 2007, and the Germans dived on the what's called the Danger Island Troughs up in the Manihiki Plateau, and they only managed a couple before they had a problem with the system. And then a couple of years ago, that was the next one. And so we have a research vessel flagged in the Cook Islands called Anuanu Moana, which means Rainbow Sea. And that's got, I guess what they call it, a light work class or inspection class ROV on board that. That's 6,000 metre depth rated. So it's much smaller than Herc, but much bigger than Little Herc. It's sort of somewhere in between. We've dived with that now maybe it's dived even a dozen times, but not 100 times, that's for sure. So yeah, it's whatever tools you've got, basically. It's like you go to the shed and you open the drawer and you pull out an ROV, and then you do what you can with your ROV. And yeah, it's been a great learning for us Cook Islanders, going through these different types of equipment and learning more and more about the seabed. And whilst maybe it doesn't give you quite the same perspective as a submersible or human-occupied vehicle, it certainly gives you fantastic footage from the cameras and allows you to interact with the seabed in a way that you just can't do any other way. I mean, an alternative to ROVs is to do something called a camera tow, and you basically pull a camera just above the seabed behind the vessel. And the thing is, the vessel's going up and down with the sea, and the camera goes up and down with the sea as well. And so you kind of get a series of snapshots every time the trough of the wave allows the camera to approach the seafloor. And so you take a photograph and you get it a few seconds later maybe up on the ship, or very quickly. So we've worked with those as well, but the ROV is much more powerful and flexible, the way it can twist and turn and drive up to something. And if it's got manipulators like Herc or the Komachi, on the other ship, you can pick things up and put them in baskets and do stuff like that. They're also very useful in case of any technical issues. So you can do a thing called an intervention with an ROV. So for example, we deploy environmental moorings, and if there's a problem with it releasing, coming back to the surface when you're finished with it, you can go in with an ROV and basically cut it loose and get your mooring back. And sometimes there's several years worth of data on that mooring that you really don't want to lose. So whilst ROVs aren't necessarily very cheap, they can be a very flexible tool for getting in. And they're used all around the world in so many different industries. They're used in oil and gas, for example, use them a lot for building and maintaining undersea infrastructure, for checking the integrity of pipelines and equipment like that. Marine scientists use them, much like we're using them today, to survey the seafloor and in some cases collect samples. They're even used, for example, in some emergency type work. So if you've got something that's blocking a pipe, or for example, or an outlet, you can always send a little ROV up to clean it out or look for you. Or for example, there's been cases where a submarine has been stranded on the seabed, And one thing you can do is send an ROV down to attach a escape chamber or at least communicate. Just put a hydrophone on the surface of the sub so you can talk with the people inside. So they've been, and then of course they use it for salvage. So
Yeah, we've been.
that's often not such a fun job, but when an aircraft is lost or something like that, and you want to find out, maybe recover the black boxes or the remains, you send an ROV team in again to do that. So there are our hands on the seabed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 kilometers away from us or 3 kilometers away, and doing all the things we wish we could do if we could just walk around on the seabed ourselves.
Lots of tools for lots of jobs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. You mentioned hydrophone, and that's great because one of our questions was, do you ever record, use, or interpret sounds underwater? And a hydrophone is how we actually record that, right? And we can hear what the ocean sounds like.
Yeah, it's a fancy name for underwater microphone, I guess, hydrophone. And they're a standard component on many, many pieces of equipment. The first thing you can use a hydrophone for is to actually monitor underwater equipment, how it's working. So if you've got an underwater drill rig, for example, you can listen to the noise the machine is making so that the operator has a feel for how that equipment is functioning. The second thing we often do with hydrophones is we put them on moorings. So we anchor a mooring to the seabed, and then you put one or even several hydrophones on the mooring. And the reason you might use more than one is that hydrophones are often tuned to certain frequencies, so they can pick up that particular frequency, certainly over bigger distances. And for example, if you're interested in tracking whales or other cetaceans, you might pick a particular frequency for the type of whale or group of whales that you want to understand. Then the next thing we do with hydrophones is we put them on. We can put them on the seabed if we want to test the sound range of underwater equipment. So let's say you're testing something on the seabed and you want to know how noisy it is for environmental reasons. You could put hydrophones at progressively further distances to try and get real empirical data to support the sound modelling that you normally do before you start. So it's useful there. And last but definitely not least, what we can do is, it's really popular to do floating hydrophones. So what you do is, let's say you've come out here like we are, you could, for example, drop a little float off in the water column and it would drift away, and underneath it could be a hydrophone. And then at the end of our ROV dive, we would collect the ROV and go and catch it. And then we would see what it had heard the whole time we were working. So if there were any, again, if there were any whales in the nearby vicinity, you'd start to get a feel for that without having to go and look for them. Because looking for whales is a lot of work sometimes. But listening for them, if they are talking, is much, much easier.
So you mentioned whales, but what other sounds do you hear in the ocean? Like, what does the ocean sound like?
I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert in sound. But so obviously you hear whales because the sound travels very well in water because it's denser than air, for example. So the speed of sound is higher and sounds can go a lot further. It does vary depending where you are in the water column. So there's a particular depth where the temperature and pressure coincide. And it's been given a cute name, which is the SOFAR channel. I can see someone else is looking that up, right?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that too.
Yeah. Do you want to take over on top of that one?
No, go for it. No, go for it.
So yeah, it's just where pressure and temperature coincide to give you optimal acoustic response. And it does vary. The depth of the SOFAR channel is different in different parts of the world. But a lot of whales dive to the SOFAR channel and then call at that depth and to see if they can get their sound further. So obviously the sound travels along the channel but also propagates out of it so that other whales can hear them. That's an area environmentally that you need to, if you're doing any kind of anthropogenic activity, that's something of course that you try and avoid. The first thing people did, I don't know if you know this story, when they discovered the SOFAR channels, the military said this would be really cool. We could have, if a pilot's down, they could set off explosives at that depth so we could find them. So I don't think they thought very hard about all the other users on that party line, but it didn't work. So they've let that go now, thank goodness.
Yeah, I know. Poor whales.
But apart from whales, there's a lot of other noise in the sea. I mean, obviously there's anthropogenic sources of noise like transiting cargo ships and fishing boats and things like that.
Turbines,
The
yeah.
whole lot, yeah, it
Yeah,
all
yeah,
adds a
yeah.
little. But then there's natural noises as well. I mean, avalanches and earthquakes, they all put sound into the water
True,
column.
true.
There's the sound even of sea life, okay,
Yeah, I know
crunching.
the
Yeah,
shallow waters are quite noisy. You
yeah,
know, if you ever go scuba diving, you'll hear the reef.
yeah,
It's like a little crickling, like
yeah,
popping noise, and then you get closer, it gets louder, and
yeah,
everything makes a little bit of noise. You
yeah,
know, most things do make noise.
yeah.
But the SOFAR channel is one of my favorite facts
Is
about
it?
like sound in the ocean. It's so cool.
This is cool. Yeah, I'm just reading the
Yeah,
so far sound fixing and ranging transmission page, and
right.
Yeah.
it's very interesting. I had no
Yeah.
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, they worked hard to get that acronym to work. I reckon
Yeah,
they would have
right?
had about 20 or 30 different names on the whiteboard before they picked that one.
That's a good acronym.
Michaela, in addition to your visual camera work, do you ever work with underwater microphones or hydrophones?
We, sorry, can you hear me? Yes,
Uh,
we do not, no. We primarily focus on cameras, lights, and batteries, underwater batteries. So no, we don't do anything with microphones, unfortunately.
would you want to be on a project that uses hydrophones? Do you think that that would be an interesting thing for you?
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Yeah, we're always thinking of new ways to map and acquire data. Um, yeah, there's a lot of thought, but yeah, we primarily focus on those things for now.
A good person to ask about underwater noise is Matt. Because
Oh.
Matt has to study it 2 or 3 times a day, don't you?
That is true. Definitely when we're mapping, and honestly for when we're ranging to our two vehicles down below the surface right now, speed of sound in the water is incredibly important. And for mapping purposes, you can think of it back to your high school physics. We want to know the distance from our ship or our ROV to a target, in most cases from the ship to the seafloor. And we know a couple of things, and we can use some basic Newtonian physics in a very simplified concept here, but velocity is distance over time. And the multi-beam is very good at measuring time, actually, but we want distance. It's really just a fancy stopwatch. It puts a pressure wave out in the water and waits until it hears the echo, and it has very, very precise timing for when it does that. And so we know the time. We can measure the velocity of sound in the water column with a couple of different instruments, and then we can just invert that equation and solve for D.
It's pretty interesting stuff. Different ways that you can use sound waves. And the maps that we get are pretty accurate too. I like popping in sometimes to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, some people think watching a multi-beam line is boring, but I can watch it all day. But there's a lot of work, eh? You should never underestimate how
Yeah,
much
no,
cleaning they have to do
it's
the
not
data.
easy.
There's all these little false responses that need to be
Yeah,
cleaned out, and
yep.
oh,
The
I'm
false
so glad I
seafloors.
don't have to do that job, and I leave it to
To the experts.
yeah, yeah.
But it is very useful. I mean, it's how we're able to do all of this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you know.
it's the foundation of what we do offshore.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Matt's not just a navigator; he's also what's called a hydrographic surveyor. So that kind of gives you a bit more of a depth into the kinds of work that they need to do, because it is surveying distances and understanding how the ocean behaves in different situations and things like that. So
Someone mentioned sea vent sounds, and I imagine that would be quite loud too.
seabed sound,
Yeah, sea vent sounds,
like
like hydrothermal vents or maybe cold
oh
seeps, like different sort of venting, you know, action in the seafloor,
yeah,
and the kind of sounds that would make.
I did some work in Papua New Guinea once, and yeah, we were listening. There's a hydrothermal vent system there, and yeah, there was background noise associated with the vent, and it was next door to a volcano.
Oh, that's pretty noisy location.
Yeah, when the volcano had an eruption, that was certainly much noisier. But yeah, there's those particular parts of the world are
Yeah.
constantly.
I wonder if the underwater organisms can recognize like the sound of a hydrothermal vent and, go towards that. Because I always thought it was cool, the hydrothermal vents only live for about 20 or so years. Like they have a lifespan. And so where they like, they live and then they die and, waxing and waning. But there's always, it's an oasis for life, like in the seafloor. So I thought it was interesting how they can always manage to grow around that hot spot of activity. And maybe the sound is one reason, just as like smells and chemical tracings in the ocean is like a beacon for organisms, maybe sound is too.
It makes sense. You'd use everything you had.
Right, exactly,
Right?
and it's not your eyes
So
for the most
if
part.
the current's blowing towards you, maybe you'll follow the scent.
Yeah.
But if maybe you can hear it if it's to the side or
Right.
overhead.
I just have no idea.
How we looking?
Maybe there's a scientist out there who knows.
Oh yeah, there will be. There's a specialist for almost everything these days, isn't there?
Yeah, I know. We're about 2,200 meters now.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep.
I think we're holding off to something.
Deep. Yeah.
Let's see if we can find out what's going on.
Not quite halfway there.
Oh, yeah?
Riveting as this is.
You know what? I really can't get enough of it. Blue is one of the best colors, so it's pretty nice. Matt, I have a question. When you're doing like the mapping and you're sending these blips down and they're bouncing back up, do you ever get, because I know there's like fish finders, right, where they use sonar to find different organisms down there. If you like sent one down, could you see like a whale, like a really big creature, and that would like have a little sound back?
Yeah, turns out air is a really, really good acoustic reflector, especially when it's sitting in water. So bubbles, seeping from the seafloor, those will show up really bright. And the air in a whale's lungs or the air in a swim-bladdered fish in their swim bladder, those will give you a nice, bright mid-water target return, depending on the type of sonar you're using. But yeah, in the multi-beams that I use back home in Florida, we can and very often do see dolphins and such like that. They show up very, 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 very clearly.
That's cool.
Imagery, and we curse them and tell them to be to go be charismatic somewhere else, and we're trying to work here,
It is pretty cool.
And yeah, there are
Crazy.
scientific echo sounders out there, split beam echo sounders that are kind of wideband frequency. So this is not bleeding edge, but definitely cutting edge research that's been going on for the past decade or so, kind of building up a library of sorts of diagnostic acoustic fingerprinting of different kinds of fish. So the holy grail there is to be able to get down to species level in some cases, because the size and shape of the swim bladder in different kinds of fishes, depending on the particular blend of frequencies you insonify that with, can be kind of like a unique fingerprint, the spectral return that you get off of that. So we're able to do pretty well with size and tracking of individual animals in a school at this point. So,
that's awesome.
But where we want to be is get to the point where like, yeah, that's a snapper, that's a grouper, that's a that's a barracuda, that sort of thing. And we're getting closer
neat.
and closer.
Yeah, so you could definitely distinguish between bigger and smaller animals, but
for sure.
between species of the same size fish is that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that involves some kind of, amongst other things, curious work of taking fish and running them through MRIs and CAT scanners and things like that, and just getting that like really detailed imagery on their swim bladder geometry.
Cool.
'Cause that is determinative for the kind of reflection you get off that when
I know a
you
ton of
hit
folks
it
that
with
would
sound.
love that,
Yeah, if
right?
you want to get into CAT scanning dead fish, I
Okay,
know a guy.
so Sandy wants to be a jelly bean taster. I think I want to be like a cat scan
A
for.
fish cat scanner?
Yeah, like can I do that? If we have anyone out there that cat scans fish, I'm your girl.
So you get to keep the fish afterwards, do you?
Either way, yeah, I wouldn't mind. It depends on the fish, yeah. If we could do like high grade sushi,
Oh, you
MRI,
know,
CAT
maybe I
scan
could
things.
like hop in on that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could hop in on that.
These
Yeah.
bluefin tunas give me a lot of problems. I think we'd need
Yeah, I
another
think we should
one
definitely
of those.
check that out.
Yeah.
When I was little, I was always fishing with my dad in Alaska, and we had a fish finder, and they always looked like if it was like a salmon, you know, you could see like the feed ball, and then you could see a couple individual like big fish, and he
Yeah.
would always call them bananas, and he would be like, "It's going bananas!" And then the rule, of course, bananas on the boat are bad luck, so there are no
Yeah.
bananas on the boat, but they're always in the ocean.
Okay.
Is that where that term originates? I want to know why.
Yeah, if you could find that history, let us know, because I'm also curious.
Why are bananas bad luck on boats?
It's working.
It's pretty
One of them is
inconclusive, yeah.
well, there's theories like when like ships started to disappear, only the the yellow bananas would be found floating on the wreckages, and so the bananas had caused the ship to sink in the first place.
Oh.
Oh,
There's a couple of other ones, like pests would maybe accompany
Yeah.
the bananas, and then because bananas emit ethylene gas.
Yeah, I'm reading that too.
It would spoil like nearby
Yeah, yeah.
fruits. So
Act as a
that's
fish
obviously bad
repellent.
luck.
Okay, that's a good reason, yeah.
And
Interesting.
oh yeah, the speed one. What's that one, Sandy?
The what one?
The speed. Banana carrying ships in the 1700s had to travel fast
Oh, yeah.
to deliver the perishable cargo before it spoiled, so it made it impossible for fishermen on board to catch anything. So a lot of these like seem just kind of like preventable,
Excuses, yeah.
preventable superstitions.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What about durians? Have you guys ever eaten durian?
What is a durian?
Oh, the stinky one?
Tastes like heaven, smells like hell. That's the saying. I think they're banned on most ships.
I have never eaten a durian before.
Durian is good. I like
Is it?
durian.
You like it?
It
It's
looks
good.
pretty
It's
cool.
stinky, but it's good.
Looks a bit like a breadfruit. The
only-
outside of it.
The
pretty
only time I
spiky.
tasted durian, it tasted like onion soaked in diesel to me.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
That
but
does
you-
not smell like
But I'm
it.
sorry, Tim, you have no palate. You don't even like Vegemite.
hey, Vegemite is not. Vegemite's not great. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
Sorry to all
never,
the
yeah, I
Vegemite
never
lovers.
grew up with it, so I never acquired a taste for it. And
Yeah.
once was enough.
that's the Vegemite or the durian or both?
The durian, yeah.
You know, my parents used to give me Vegemite and Marmite as punishment when I was a kid.
What?
Yeah, if I was bad, they would give me a spoonful of Marmite. They'd be like,
Well,
so not
that's
fun.
understandable. If you have to eat Vegemite by the spoon, that's like eating salt by the spoon.
Oh.
Yeah.
The first time I tried Vegemite, I think it was on this ship.
Really?
And I think someone told me it was like Nutella. And so I was
That's evil.
expecting it to be like
so
so
evil.
delicious. Yeah. And then, oh my
Oh.
gosh, it was such a brutal surprise.
Oh man. I
Oh,
could
here-
never trust them again.
No.
There is a
Can't
way.
trust 'em.
There is a way to enjoy Vegemite. You can trust me on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you
But-
like buttered toast with a little bit of Vegemite?
Oh, I can see that. It's like
Yeah.
savory. Yeah. So it's kind of,
just a little bit. You don't need too much.
Oh, here's a good point. Someone says you could slip on the peel and fall overboard. That would be super unlucky.
That's true.
That's the most logical
true,
explanation I've
yeah.
heard yet.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I should have known.
One time I was in the parking lot and I
Banana peel.
stepped on a banana peel and it was literally like in the cartoon.
No
Me
way.
too.
You had one too?
No, me
Yeah.
too. Yes, on college campus. I was walking minding my own business and I did see the banana peel. Absolutely fell.
Yeah,
ate
right
it.
on the bum.
Yeah.
It hurt so
It was
bad.
so embarrassing.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is actually a real thing? Like, I thought this was in Mario Kart only.
I thought you're supposed to look where you're going and see
Well,
it.
Yeah. It was horrible.
oh man.
Ooh, okay, this is kind of a spicy question. What is a dangerous place in the ocean that Lil Herc should never venture
Bermuda
to?
Triangle.
Oh.
I don't think it should go in the Bermuda Triangle.
6,001 meters deep.
Yeah. Great point.
Yeah, there are specialists who work in what's called the Hadal zone. Which,
Oh, that's
so remember
pretty
the
cool.
origin of the word abyss, as an abyssal plane, is bottomless. So they thought the ocean was bottomless. I guess some people did for a while, and they called it the abyss. And then someone made a rope that was long enough, I guess, and then they found that it's only between 3,800-ish to maybe 5,500 meters, depending where you are.
Like 11,000 meters, I'm pretty sure.
And then they found something deeper than the abyss,
Yeah.
and they had to find a new name for that. So they picked Hadal, which of course is after Hades or Hell.
Yep.
So and there are people who specialise in going as deep as they can below 6,000 meters, and it's good to see that the MXD is rated to 7,000 meters. There's equipment built to go to the full 11,000 meters to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. And,
Would you guys go in a submarine down to the Hadal Zone, given the
Sure.
opportunity?
How deep is the Hadal zone, did you say?
I think the deepest point is maybe 11,000.
yeah, but
deepest.
having heard from Tim, and whilst I don't appreciate his taste in food, I do understand when he talks about submersibles, he probably knows what he's on about, and I'm going to go and look for that DNV or ABS certification plate on the sub before I get in.
I could barely hear you, John.
I was saying that whilst I don't appreciate your taste in food, I do agree that before I went in any kind of HOV, I would go and look for the DNV or the ABS plate.
Yes, yes.
I think it's the deepest is
important.
about like 10,900 meters deep.
That's yeah. It's disputed depending on what
Yeah,
formula you use.
true.
But yeah, it's roughly 10,900 meters deep. So I believe there's a Chinese submersible that
Yeah.
can go that deep now.
Yeah, I learned
There
about
was
that.
the one that James Cameron built and dove to the bottom of the Marianas Trench in 2012. And then there's the one that Inkfish owns that Victor Vescovo did a thing called the 5 Deeps. So he dove the 5 deepest trenches, and then he had that up for sale for a while, and then it was bought by Inkfish, and now it's a full-time research submersible.
Okay,
And that takes 2 people inside.
cool.
I would totally go.
So our ROVs go a couple hours, right, to get down to the seafloor. How long would a submersible take to get to that depth?
Well,
Good
they
question.
don't have the tether or the attachment to the vessel, so they can go down and up a little bit faster. I believe the one, it was called the limiting factor before, but they changed the name and it's now called Bacanawa. That one I think takes about 5 hours to get down, and the Deep Sea Challenger sub, which was James Cameron, that one took about 3 hours to get down. That one rocketed down
Yeah.
and rocketed up
Just
because
about.
he wanted
Wow.
to, his whole dive time was, going to be limited to what was comfortable for a person. So he wanted to spend as little time going up and down and spend most of the time exploring the seafloor. So they did scale model testing and refined the shape of it to optimize it for vertical speed.
He basically had to know yoga, didn't he? Have to get in and out of the thing. He had to wriggle in.
He actually stopped eating meat and was doing yoga because he's about 6'3" or 6'4", and it was a very small sphere. So yeah, he didn't want to cramp up and everything like that. So it was a commitment for sure.
I heard him talk about it once, and he said on the way down it was great, but once he was on the way up and the adrenaline was over, he said it was agony.
Oh, I
Or,
bet, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was sort of half crouched
Yeah.
the whole time.
I
And
never-
Yeah, I imagine
And
it
it's
could be quite
interesting too
uncomfortable.
because they had acoustic communications, so it was all signals that traveled through the water, and because it was roughly 11 kilometers down and maybe 2 or 3 kilometers horizontally to the vessel, it was the one-way signal. Once he spoke and transmitted, it was about 7.5 seconds until we heard it on the ship. And same thing,
Whoa.
we would wait for him to stop talking. We would hear what he said, and then we would reply. And it was about 7.5 seconds before he would hear it.
Wow. So when you go down in a submersible like that, do you bring snacks? Do you bring water? Like, do you have to hold it if you have to go potty?
You definitely bring snacks. You definitely bring water. There's a whole bunch of emergency supplies, which include water and food as well. And but yeah, if you have to pee, you have to pee. So generally, depending on the sub, there's one sub I know that has an actual flush toilet and a holding tank on board, and a proper bathroom with a door that separates you from everybody else. And it's got hot water in the sink to wash your hands.
Nice.
And all that.
So
But
luxurious.
most submersibles are much smaller, so they generally carry it's a little bag with a powder inside that makes the liquid turn to gel. I think it's called a hiwi or a shiwi.
Oh, yep.
And most subs carry that inside. But if you're having stomach problems, you best just not to dive that day.
Oh. So it's very cold in our control van. Our submarines, or submersibles, excuse me, are they cold as well? I mean, do they have heaters in them? How does it work? Because these depths are really, really cold, right?
True.
It is very cold down there, but it depends on the material of the hull. Generally, the acrylic hulled subs are generally too warm to be comfortable, so they have an air conditioner to keep you cool. And if it's a steel hull, that cold temperature will transmit through the steel, and it'll be quite cold inside. So it really varies what you wear. If you're diving in a steel-hulled submersible and going deep, you'll wear thick woolly socks and layers, and usually a beanie or a toque, depending on what country you're from.
Is toque Canadian?
Yes.
Okay, I saw you looking at Ryan.
Yeah, and a sweater or a jumper, and but yeah, if you're in an acrylic hulled sub, you like to be in shorts and a t-shirt.
Huh. So of course, if you're scuba diving, there's like decompression time and whatnot. Someone wants to know if there's a dive sickness. Is that a thing for submersibles? Do you have to do any sort of decompression, or does the pressure prevent that?
No, the hulls they resist all the pressure, so you stay at 1 atmosphere inside, so there's absolutely no decompression involved. You can dive down to the deepest spot in the ocean. As soon as you come up, you can open the hatch and step right out. So you're just breathing regular air, so it's basically like stepping into a room. So there's virtually no difference. I guess there's slight pressure changes depending on temperature and humidity and your metabolism, the speed you use oxygen at, and of course you exhale carbon dioxide, but you have a scrubber that absorbs the carbon dioxide. But generally it stays just 1 atmosphere, breathing 21% oxygen, just normal air.
The air you go down with, is that like once you close the hatch, the air that's in the submersible, is that the air you go down with?
It is. It changes slightly because as you metabolize oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, the pressure somewhat drops as you uptake the oxygen, and then it increases as you exhale CO2. So really the only difference in total pressure is due to temperature change. And that's all dictated by Boyle's law, but you don't add any more air to it, but they inject pure oxygen at a very slow rate to match the speed that you're using oxygen. And then of course the carbon dioxide gets absorbed into a chemical scrubber that captures the CO2.
Lisa wants to know, what does it sound like? Do you mainly hear the hum of the sub, or is there, Are you on SPL and you're just chatting each other's ear off?
You hear your motors spinning. If you have a hydraulic pump, that's a bit louder. But yeah, generally it's quite quiet inside. You might hear some fans blowing from either moving air around or your scrubber fan that's absorbing the carbon dioxide. You'll hear that, but it's pretty quiet, especially if you're not thrusting and you're just descending by weight. It's quite peaceful in there.
Yeah, that was my next question. Do you feel at peace when you're in it?
I guess it depends on the depth you're going to too. Like you have checklists that you're constantly scanning all of your gauges and your pressures and looking around, looking at your sonar, making sure you're not going to run into anything and things like that. So you're pretty busy most of the time, but I heard on the deep subs, you know, once they're done their checklist, then usually they have another couple thousand meters to descend before they hit the seabed. So it's you know, especially when there's a 2 or 3 person sub, then you just have chit chat, kind of like SPL.
Do you ever play music?
Play cards.
Yes, and again, it depends on what your task is. If you're filming and you have someone like National Geographic or something on board, and they're recording everything, you act accordingly, right? But if it's just like a crew dive and that, yeah, you put music on usually. Not real loud. You still have to pay attention to your surroundings and that, but yeah, generally. Pink Floyd is a highly recommended one.
I would bet.
That was
would
my
be
next
awesome.
question. Yeah.
Strobe the lights to the music as you
Yeah.
go down. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this is an
Nice.
open question to the room. If you were going down in a submersible, what would you be listening to?
Well, good
Tim?
No, I need
Pink
to
Floyd?
think about that.
Yeah, me too.
You too, John. Pink
Yeah.
Floyd. All right.
Oh,
Sorry.
I've got to jump off and check my thrusters here. I'll be
Okay,
back.
thanks. Goodbye. You too, Sandy? Pink Floyd?
I mean, I feel like that's the perfect choice.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to do like, you could do different albums, you know? I
Yeah.
think Pillow of Winds, whatever that album is, would be really nice.
Be pretty epic. Because you'd want it to be something epic, right?
You would need it to be. You
Yeah.
would need it to be.
Epic, but like grounded, but also hype music.
I wouldn't call it hype music. I don't think Pink Floyd is my hype
What?
music.
I feel
no.
like I could
it's
listen
like
to
an
Pink Floyd if-
adventurous music.
Yeah, like if I'm going into battle, like
Oh, for
like
sure.
hype, like
depending.
yeah.
I see
Not
what you're
like
saying.
going out on the
I
town
was like,
hype music.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know
No,
about
like
that.
preparing for
Yeah.
a journey music.
Right. I totally agree.
What would you listen to, Mikhail?
Going where again?
In a
Sorry.
submarine.
To the bottom of the ocean?
Oh, to the bottom. I would probably listen to like Hans Zimmer.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good
Yeah,
choice.
Yeah, something like that.
That's a good choice.
And you don't want to get too wide too quickly because you might be 500 meters down and you've still got 4 kilometers to go, and now what?
And now what? Yeah. Jaina, do you have an album or a artist of choice?
Probably Grizz or Excision,
Okay.
both of who are dubstep DJs.
That's a different kind of hype music. Yeah.
I would maybe play some like Dire Straits too.
Ooh.
Like some of the longer winded
Yep.
ones. Maybe some Anna Frango Electrico too. I like them. That's a good question.
I listened to The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. Feels like a weird choice, but a fun one.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm back listening. I think Fleetwood Mac Greatest Hits is
Oh,
That
always
would be
good too.
really good too. I might listen to some Radiohead. Honestly, going down there with that team.
Why, because you're a weirdo?
Yeah, I'm a creep, you know. I don't belong there.
All of the above. Have you seen, there's like a video of a crepe on
No,
Instagram,
but
and
I
it's like they they made little eyes in the mouth, and then they flap the mouth, and it's to the Radiohead song. It's like, I'm a crepe. I'm a weirdo, like D-O-U-G-H.
We get it, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. It cracks me up.
Yeah, any music that's sort of dark and dismal. I
Yeah,
feel like that would
dark
be
and
wonderful. Yeah.
Or just maybe crack dad jokes all the way to the bottom until someone actually wants to flood the sub. Just to end it all.
They're like, please just stop.
Yeah, the control van, just self-destruct button. You know that, what Tim was saying about waiting 7 minutes before you hear the other person
Oh,
talking
yeah.
back? That reminds me of the movie Interstellar, when it was like you had to wait so long to get communication. I guess any like space, venture you have to kind of await, but that can be a little strange, a little scary to know. I don't know, time between. I feel like we're very used to instant communication, like
Yeah.
right now, at least I am, if something doesn't load in 3 seconds, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the worst internet ever. But waiting 7 minutes.
I think our delay,
7 minutes.
yeah, our live stream delay is 3 seconds, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 5. But that's
A lot-
across the planet.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
What can happen in the span of 7 minutes? A lot could.
Oh my gosh, I missed all these, you guys. There's
Oh.
so many. Okay, playlist would be a late 90s, early 2000s millennial mix. Same. I'm a millennial. Let's go. Perfect World or Perfect Water by Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh yeah,
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's good. Blue Oyster Cult will be on there for sure. We should make this playlist.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, a Nautilus playlist.
Yep, that'll be a plan.
Tubular Bells. I don't know that one.
I don't know that one. Who's it by?
Oh, it's a bit like Hans Zimmer, along with
Oh,
Jean
okay.
Jarre, yeah.
Tubular Bells.
Yeah, very chill music, chill instrumental, yeah.
Oh, kind of like it sounds like
Mike
a
Oldfield,
tubular
I think.
bell.
Well, just download it and play it.
Okay.
I know. I'm
Sandra, are
writing
you
it
making
down.
the playlist
Yeah,
over there?
I'm making
Nice.
the playlist.
Cool. Elmer Bernstein. Bernstein. That's a joke, but I don't know who it is, so now I have to listen to it. Or Disturbed.
Oh.
Disturbed is another different type of hype music.
Yeah, for sure is.
Florence and Kid Harpoon. I'm going down.
And Kid Harpoon.
If the sun went out, we wouldn't find out till 10 minutes later. Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange thing to think about, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Ooh, we have a few more countries entering the chat, too. We have Austria. I don't think we've seen Austria yet this watch.
Welcome Austria.
Brazil.
Hey, Brazil.
Guatemala. And Mexico. I think you all, we didn't see you last time I checked. We also have United States, Canada, Australia, Sweden, Malaysia, United Kingdom, Germany, and the Cook Islands. Hello, everyone. Tell us what time of day it is where you are. Oh my gosh, Tubular Bells is the music from Exorcist. Okay, well, we're not putting that on the playlist. That was like the first scary movie that I watched that actually really
I've never
scared
seen that
me.
movie.
I didn't even know they used that music in that movie. No.
Oh.
Oh, Bernstein made the Nat Geo theme. Jaws theme song.
Oh, that. Jaws theme song.
Okay, yes, Val, I'm going to find a way to do my best to put this playlist somewhere. Maybe we can put it on Spotify and share out a link from the Nautilus account.
You have to put in metric
totally could.
breathing underwater as well.
Who breathing underwater?
Metric.
Metric breathing underwater.
I'll add that. Breathing underwater.
Okay, and we have a playlist name. Someone just sent it out. It's called The Deep Sea is Metal.
I like that.
You could make it polymetallic if you wanted. Yeah.
This is going to be the weirdest knob of
Oh,
music.
it's going to be so good.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, here.
I don't think it's going to have flow somehow.
Our next shift will have it done.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We have another one, Florence and Kid Harpoon. I'm going down. Did I say that one already?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have that one. Keep reading them out as they come.
I will.
Sweet.
Yeah. And you got the Jaws theme song?
I did
Okay.
get the Jaws theme
Stellar.
song.
And you put the whole Fleetwood Mac anthology on there?
I will.
Someone says Octopus's Garden?
Oh,
That was
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
I like that song. Yellow Submarine.
I know, I thought of that
Of
too.
course. Why not?
Why not?
The Titanic soundtrack.
Oh,
Celine Dion.
Yeah,
Oh, there you
of
go. Did
course.
you catch that?
Too soon.
There's a
Jelly.
jelly there.
Cute.
Oh my goodness. Capitlana.
Oh, very long
Very nice.
tentacles? Are they tentacles?
Ctenophore.
It's coming down with us.
Ctenophore?
Yeah, that is a ctenophore. Beautiful. Part of the comb jellies, like what you're, same like grouping, yeah.
Sandy, I know that you're data logging, but you're also song logging now, so.
That's data.
Yeah, it's data of a different sort.
Yeah.
Dory's Just Keep Swimming song.
Is that on Spotify? I'm not sure.
We can do an original
Yeah.
cover, if
Oh,
anything.
sure, yeah.
And I'm not familiar with this one. Ravel or Ravel? Ondine?
Ravel what?
Ravel, I think it is, yes.
Ravel, and then Ondine.
Oh, Ravel Ondine. I'll add it.
Weird Fishes by Radiohead.
Oh, that one's good.
Yep.
That one's good.
Another one to keep you on track is Nautical Disaster by Tragically Hip.
Okay.
Okay, there's another one.
Nautical Disaster.
Wow, you all are sending it with this playlist. Okay, we have Aquarius by The Fifth Dimension. Tell me when you're ready for the next one.
Aquarius by The Fifth Dimension. Oh, The Age of Aquarius, the whole album?
Maybe let's just do one song from the
Yeah.
albums.
Which one is the... Let's see, which one should we do? This is the first one.
Rock Lobster? How You Guys Forget It? Is How You
Rock-
Guys Forget It like the name, or are they
Rock
telling how did we
Lobster.
forget it?
That's the song
Could be.
by the
Okay.
B-52s.
B-52s, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's classic.
I thought they were saying, how could you forget this song?
Yeah.
Maybe, or it's
I
a
think
different
that-
song. Yeah.
Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid. No Floyd, Wish You Were Here.
Oh, yeah. That's good. What about Long Way Down by the Hillbilly Moon Explosion?
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
sounds fitting. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know if this is a song or if this is something else, but Nightwish Nemo?
Nightwish Nemo?
This person is, it's 3:47 in Sweden, and they are working the night fish while watching and listening.
That is a song.
All right, we're
Added
adding
it.
your song Nightwish Nemo. Rolling in the Deep.
Yeah.
Ocean
good.
Man by Ween.
Oh, that's such a good song. I remember listening to that for the first time. Sort of like a joke song for a while.
Coelacanth, The Darkest of Hillside Thickets.
Coelacanth?
More like Coelacan, am I right? Coelacan make this playlist.
Coelacanth, the what?
The Darkest of Hillside Thickets.
Darkest? I'm not sure if I find that one. I found Divorce of the Coelacanth.
Oh, I know how we could share it out, Sandy.
How?
Are you able to make it a public?
Yeah.
And then what's the name of it? The Ocean is Metal?
I think it's The Deep Sea is Metal.
The Deep Sea is Metal. So if you just search The Deep Sea is Metal on Spotify,
Yeah, maybe.
you might be able to find
Yeah,
it.
you might.
We'll see.
The profile is Sandra, so if it's...
Okay, we have a couple more for you. Yes. Oh, no Floyd meant Pink Floyd. Okay, yeah. Speaking of exploding pumpkins.
Oh yeah, smashing pumpkins, give it to me.
Imploding pumpkins. Okay, we're about to do our watch shift, but we were trying to get the last of these in before we change. Nathan Evans, Wellerman,
Welderman?
Weller, Wellerman,
Wellerman.
and that
Sea
is,
shanty?
yep, that's it.
All right.
Sitting on the dock of the bay, that's a good one.
Sitting on the dock of the bay. Otis Redding. Oh, I love Otis
Yep.
Redding. That's gonna be good. Huh.
Drunken Sailor by the Irish Rovers.
Oh, that's good. Drunken Sailor by the Irish Rivers. It's pretty funny.
This next watch is going to come on and be like, why are there just like song names in the chat? What were you all talking about?
Yeah, I vote we don't tell them what we're doing. We
Just
walk
not tell
off.
them, yeah.
They'll
Okay.
figure it out.
Yeah.
If you're in the chat, don't tell them. Don't tell them what we've been up to. Okay, a couple of serious questions. Someone wants to know if these live streams are always available, and they are always available when we are diving. So we send out dive alerts on our social media channels, Nautilus Live or EV Nautilus, depending on the platform, and typically on our stories, and you'll get a little alert if you sign up for our alerts on social. And I know, I'm sorry, y'all. We can't leave now. This is the best time. I agree. It's been so fun.
I know.
We are currently at a depth of about 3,000 meters. We're going down to 5,100, which is among the deepest, if not the deepest, that little Hercules has ever gone. So that is really exciting. And what's more exciting to me right now are all of these songs. So I'm going to keep writing them down while Sandy does her watch handover.
Yep.
And I'll name a couple of these out because they're fun. We've got L. Ron Hubble, Challenger Deep. The Tide is High by Blondie, classic.
Oh, that's so good.
Ocean Breaths, Modest Mouse, love it.
Mm-hmm.
We also tend to have just a very friendly competition about which watch is the most fun. So
Vote 12-4 if you want more of these song conversations.
if you want access to the playlist.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we'll be back in like about 8 hours. So when we are back, hopefully we'll be on bottom so we don't have to talk about random songs. But if we want to talk about songs, that's cool too. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so if you do want to access older videos on older streams, we don't typically upload like an entire dive, but we clip highlights. And so those highlights are shared to our social media channels and our YouTube channel. And then, of course, depending on the expedition that you're looking for a highlight video of, you can click on that expedition or that year and find it. But I would recommend the YouTube channel. It's really fun because there's a bunch of curated playlists too. So if you want to look at all the shark we've seen, you can go to the shark playlist. For example, octopus, you can go to the octopus playlist. So it's a pretty fun way to kind of get acquainted with the best of Nautilus. Big Ship, Little Strip by Elstrom. All right. And I think I just heard we have about 90 minutes left on this descent, so the 4 to 8 watch will hit bottom during their dive and hopefully see some fun stuff. So when we come back on at our 12 watch, our midnight watch, we'll be exploring along the bottom as well.
Yep. Thanks, Matt. Hello. Welcome back.
Excited to join this blue water, you know.
Well, you've only got 90 minutes roughly, then we'll hit seabed, so.
19 minutes, yeah?
90.
Oh, 90. I was going to say an hour and a half is what I was putting out, so you said I thought 19, and I was like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
90 minutes. No worries. The last watch, they just did the deployment. They had 3 hours of blue water. So
Yes.
I consider myself fortunate.
Yeah. We've been at it, what, 2 hours now? Yeah.
Did they tell you what speed they were thinking of going on the
On the transect? Negative. Okay.
So pretty quick for you guys. Not a whole lot of time then
Sure.
to look at things.
Yeah. Need to cover a lot of ground though.
Yeah, they may want to move on. I'm just thinking we're going point 2, so you have less than half the time you did to look at things versus the last time. If we can sustain it, but we probably, DP looks like it's doing pretty good. Oh, I'm on SPL. Are you on
Okay.
SPL?
Yeah, I'm on SPL.
You want
Yep.
me on SPL?
No, that's fine. I think the DJs are swapping over anyways, so.
Are they? I know. I was trying to stay off it, but I never got installed.
They were trying to come, if you have any playlist suggestions, if we were listening to music, that's what they were
Is it
talking about.
aux cable they're using for their cell phones?
No, they were just talking about what they would add to a playlist for diving, either diving an ROV or diving a sub.
That's fair. Usually they have a playlist. I think we physically can play music over blue.
Oh, okay. You can change your heading, I guess, if you want. We want to be like 180 out, right? So if you go a little bit more to port, yeah, yeah. Although normally, I mean, he said they normally don't set auto heading during descent, just so that we don't get twisted around if we're not watching closely. But we can see each other in the cameras, so it's not too bad. Yeah.
Good afternoon, front row. 4 to 8 watches here.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Today's a special day for a certain someone, but we'll wait on that until she gets all hooked up. How's it going, Tim, pilot?
Yeah, it's going well. We've got roughly about 1.5 hours before we're expected to be on bottom. Just going down at a steady rate.
Seems like the marine snow is pretty dense. Have you guys been seeing that throughout the dive so far, the descent? The particulate material in the water?
Yeah, we haven't. It's very faint. I can hardly hear you.
Oh, okay. I'll move my mic a little closer.
There we go. Haven't seen a whole lot other than the particles in the water column. There's been a few. I think they were ctenophores. Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot lately.
Okay.
There was one shrimp that went floating past a little while ago.
Oh, right on.
Yep. It was cute.
Cute shrimp.
Hello, Kahina here.
Hello.
Hello.
Logging on for my shift. I'll be the communications person from now on until 8 p.m. Thank you for having me. If you haven't been on yet, I am a student. I'm learning through the communications fellowship how to work here on the Nautilus, and I'm doing mainly live interactions with classrooms across the country and across the world. Yeah, so today we're going at about 5,000 meters in depth.
Whoa, that's deep.
That's much deeper than last time. 500 meters deeper.
That's right. What are we going to do? What's the plan?
We'll be exploring the benthic megafauna, substrate types, and the environmental conditions of the seafloor here. We're about 175 nautical miles from Aitutaki. So this is the first time that this area has been surveyed. Is that correct?
That's correct. First time that we'll have eyes on the seafloor. So you all will be seeing it for the first time along with us. And
Right.
today is a special day. It happens to be Kahina's birthday,
My
so
birthday.
shout out for Kahina. Should be a national holiday, but we get the next best thing here on the ship. We get to have cake to celebrate. And maybe some of us will sing happy birthday.
Cake and ice cream today.
Oh, right, that's right.
Oh, yeah, it's Sunday.
We get ice cream.
Ice cream Sunday, fun day.
Woohoo.
Double bonus.
That's right.
Did they tell you what your cake's going to be?
No.
Oh,
Do you have a
surprise.
favorite flavor?
It's always a surprise.
It
Oh.
is, definitely. It's never a typical.
I like chocolate. I'm a chocolate girl, but I'd be happy with anything.
There's a high
Oh.
chance for coconut, I think.
Oh, that's perfect. I love coconut.
Do you have any special
Anything
birthday
that
traditions?
isn't lemon.
Oh, no lemons. Interesting. I love citrus. Do you have any special birthday traditions that you would have growing up?
Growing up, my dad would make enchiladas for
Ooh.
dinner. And for breakfast, he'd make like cinnamon sugar toast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I haven't had cinnamon toast in a long time.
But growing up in Norway, I would always like plan for my birthday and hope for like a beach birthday, but it's October, so it's definitely not.
It's a little chilly.
Not the right weather for a beach birthday.
So classic Norwegian enchiladas then?
Yeah, that's right.
My dad was Texan, so Tex-Mex enchiladas.
Tex-Mex, nice.
Very cool.
That's good.
Yeah, they're really good. What about you all? Do you guys have birthday traditions? Anybody?
Well, growing up for me, we always had like a birthday breakfast, so which meant we could have cake before going to school. So that was always nice. The table was all decorated, then you have a huge slice of cake, and then go off to school and be super hyper on sugar for the teachers. That was fun. So we kept that tradition alive at my
Nice.
home too.
Instead of pizza for breakfast, it was cake for breakfast.
Cake, yeah. And then you could have cake when you came home. So you could never get enough cake, I think. So. Mikhail, how about you? Any fun birthday traditions?
I don't think so. I think every year is a little different. Yeah, no real like set, tradition that I do every year or that gets done for me. So I don't know.
Yeah, last year I moved to Norway again for the first time in a while, and I didn't know many people, so I thought I was going to be spending my birthday alone. But then these two girls that I just met surprised me with a cabin trip.
Oh,
It was really sweet. Got much closer with them.
that's really great.
Cabin in the mountains, on a lake.
In the mountains.
Mountain skiing.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't quite snowing yet, but it was raining. Yeah.
Sounds nice, so.
But there's a nice resort or cabin system in Norway where if you pay about like $40 a year, then you have access to like all these cabins. There's hundreds of them everywhere, and you pay only like $5 a night.
Cool.
To go stay at them. So it's really
All
nice.
right.
You can ski between one to the next.
Cool.
Some people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. So did you have birthday cake in Akavit?
Did I have birthday cake at the cabin?
And Akavit?
No.
No, Akavit. Oh,
No.
best thing about Norway is Akavit.
Got some birthday wishes. Thank you all. So we have someone who asked, please give a clear description of what megafauna means in this context. That word means different things to different scientists.
That's right. That's a good question. We have different size classes of organisms that we encounter in the ocean. And for our purposes on these abyssal plain investigations and exploration activities, our megafauna are being classified as animals, organisms greater than 2 centimeters. And then our macrofauna are going to be a little smaller, operationally between 0.3 millimeters and 2 centimeters. And then myofauna are even smaller, about 45 micron to 0.3 millimeters. And then you got microflora and fauna, bacteria, and other microbes that are even tinier. So basically, the little Herc's camera has been able to pick up animals even smaller than 2 centimeters, and sometimes we're actually seeing macrofauna. But a vast majority of the animals that we'll be encountering on the sediment surface or attached to the nodules or other hard substrates are megafauna. And the lasers are giving us a good idea of size, so we'll be able to get some estimates of sizes of different critters as we encounter them. But on our dive the other day, when we were going across the knolls, we were able to get some amazing imagery with our cameras. Michaela's here and can chat about that with us in terms of those cameras and their capabilities. But the camera was able to zoom in and capture some really small animals, even those that are teeny tiny. We'd only be able to catch on a microscope, I'd say. So that was incredible to be able to visualize those in situ down on the seafloor and get better ideas of who's hanging out on the nodules. Kelly, you want to tell us about the camera before we reach the seafloor and get to use them?
Sure. So the camera we're talking about here is the MXDC cam. So this was a collaborative effort developed by MBARI, which is the Mare Bay Aquarium Research Institute, and Deep Sea Power and Light. So basically, on a high level, it's a broadcast camera, kind of those cameras that people use for sports arenas and shooting sporting events, with a really high resolution sensor and a really long optical zoom. And we were able to put that into a 7-kilometer rated titanium housing, so we can explore the bottom of the ocean. It has ultra high definition resolution, so 4K native HD, and it can record up to 60 frames per second. Another cool thing about this camera is that it has a global shutter, unlike other cameras that have a rolling shutter. That means all the photons that hit the center, or that hit the sensor, are all exposed at the same time, and you don't get kind of the rolling effect that you see in other mediums. This is more...
Looking at you, GoPro cameras.
Yeah, this is mainly, you see this like with fast-moving objects, such as like helicopter blades. You'll see some kind of distortion or jello effect. This camera will eliminate that and provide with really sharp frames. And those frames could actually be used as stills later on. So if you want to, capture a photo from the video, you can easily do that without a lot of distortion or jello. Yeah, so we brought along with us, the camera itself, the MXDC cam, as well as the telemetry, which is right now built inside the main rack system on an EV Nautilus inside the control van. And we also have the topside controls that are in front of Dave right now, the video engineer. So he's able to control the zoom, focus, iris, and a lot of other inputs and outputs to and from the camera. And yeah, there's just a lot of detail I can go into and how we made this work. But in essence, we're using fiber optic to communicate to the camera. All that data and video data is sent back and forth through the fiber optic channels, and then we're converting that back to electrical signals here on the top side. So we can interface, both with video and control data to remotely control the camera up to 7 kilometers.
Thanks, Mikhail.
So in addition to that, not only is it a high-resolution sensor in the camera, it's 3 high-resolution sensors. Cameras, previous versions of 4K cameras and a lot of less expensive cameras have a single sensor, and they use selections of sensors, selections of portions of the sensor to capture red, green, blue, and combine that into a single picture. In this camera, and hence the rolling shutter operation, because it's cycling through the pixels or the frames of the pixels in order, red, green, blue, and then puts them together electronically. In this case, all 3 sensors, red, green, and blue sensors, are of equal resolution and are exposed at the same time, and that makes for a much higher quality picture. The resolution is UHD, which is slightly different than 4K. 4K is a film cinema format, but UHD we call it in video. And with that we get, like Mikhail said, we don't get the interframe blur and motion artifacts and that kind of stuff. We also don't get color artifacts when in having to interpolate red, green, and blue channels from a series of pixels, and instead we have a full resolution channel of each of the 3 color channels, and that makes a much better composite signal when we get it all processed. So, and it's pretty darn cool.
And another quick thing I wanted to add, like a little nugget of information regarding with this camera. It has a built-in 2x teleextender, so it's a mechanical, basically device that puts a magnifying lens between the sensor and the camera lens. So effectively, we can double our, telefocal distance. We can go from, like, say 45 or 64 millimeters of focal length up to 129, say, millimeters of focal length. So, doubling the zoom in factor or the magnification, so we can get really high detail on, specimens and things we can find underwater.
I've been waiting for, what, 3 years? How long has this been in development, Mikhail?
I think it started pre-COVID, so...
I know that that we consulted, my my colleague and shipmate Ed and I consulted with MBARI early on in the process about what we'd like to see and recommended a camera choice, which we ended up with,
Yep.
and that kind of stuff. So I like to feel like I had a little part of the development. You guys did all the heavy lifting, though.
Yeah, definitely a lot of kind of effort was brought up by MBARI. They developed the first 2 working units, and then we kind of took that as our own approach and have a you know, effort behind commercializing this, or you know, either leasing or you know, just overall sale of the system as a whole for oceanographic research and yeah, exploration.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do a lot of other ROVs have similar systems in place?
Have to take that, Mikhail.
You can take that because I don't know a whole lot of ROVs.
There's 4K cameras out there. Tim, how many 4K cameras have you seen?
Well, yeah, most deep science ROVs have a 4K camera. They're just not as new and as advanced as this one.
Generally, all of them either the deep sea power and light or the mini Zeus are all single chip cameras, as we've used on other ROVs and that kind of stuff. They do have the resolution, but maybe not. They still produce motion artifacts, color artifacts, and that kind of stuff that come with single chip cameras. So there's quite a few of those out there, but of this type, there's 3.
Yeah, and then
that we know of, right?
Yeah, I think
other systems use like red cameras and stuff like that.
Right, modified cinema cameras or modified photography cameras, Sony DSLRs and those kinds of things with oversized sensors and that kind of stuff.
It is such a small market of
it
people
is.
that are buying deep housings and high-end cameras that there's not a lot of choices too, right? So there's not a lot of companies going to build them because it's so expensive, and then if they're lucky, they'll sell 2. You know,
if they're wildly successful, they'll sell 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very kind of low volume market for sure for these cameras.
Yeah. But it's amazing to see the clarity and the detail.
Yeah, it is. It's been.
When we get down there, yeah.
Yeah, it's really been amazing to see. We had great hopes, and now it's proving out as far as I'm concerned.
I think as more of the issues with the deep sea get more popular, you know, and social media helps and things like that, as more and more people get knowledgeable about it, then, you know, hopefully more systems come online and more cameras get built and bought. And
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
We posted on social media. I saw them on LinkedIn. We posted 2 pictures yesterday, one of an anemone and one of the octopus on the bottom, both of which I shot. And even after, you know, being reduced down and that kind of stuff and showing up on social media and that kind of stuff, the detail in those stills was still quite remarkable.
Yeah.
I was very pleased, and just happened to be 2 pictures that or 2, you know, subjects that I was behind the camera on. Pure luck.
Yeah, the amount of information you can kind of extrapolate from a scene using, you know, the UHD and also the kind of, you know, recording codec. I think David might know a little bit about this more, but it records in Rec 2020, which has like much higher sensitivity and much higher, you know.
It's a wider color gamut.
Yeah, much wider.
The detail comes from the resolution, UHD resolution, and the quality comes from the codec that's being used. Yeah, the color gamut and gamma curves, we're getting pretty geeky now. In Rec 2020, which is what you see in UHD. And you know, if a football game or a hockey game is shot in UHD, that's what they're using, and gets converted down to HD. Because it's oversampled, you get the best HD ever out of UHD, and that shows up when you see it on broadcast. So it's a whole new world, and the standards are finally getting settled out, and what color conversions to use and that kind of stuff. We had some debates about what color conversions to use here. We're recording the camera in its native mode, but we're also adding a color space conversion to it so that we can look at it and set up the camera and that kind of stuff. And we're recording that as well, and that's what we're streaming out. But for posterity, we're recording
we have
wide.
a few follow-up questions.
Oh no!
If you guys might be willing to answer them, I think Kahana has some lined up for you guys.
Yeah.
So one of them is ST2110 or 12G SDI on the camera.
12G SDI.
Okay. And the other one is Okeanos does cool video. What is their camera they use as a microscope all the time?
I don't know. I've never sailed on the Oki, and I don't, Brian Doros, if you're out there, let us know.
Yeah, I'd like to add, the camera does have two 12G ports. We're currently just using one, but we have two just for redundancy's sake.
ST2110 is also a possibility, but we don't have ST2110 infrastructure in our system. We're sending 12G over fiber optic cable directly, and then processing that when we get it on.
The really cool thing about that is if we do happen to encounter some animal down there that none of us recognize, the detail that you get in it, hopefully some other scientists will either be able to recognize it or classify it as a new animal, right?
Yeah, it always helps. It always helps with both the video and the stills for scientists to be able to give us those answers, or at least take it under advisement and try and sort out what the taxonomy is. That happens all the time, right, Amanda?
Yeah, the images have been absolutely incredible on the dive so far, and today I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what we find on the seafloor. We do have at least one additional person who's joined us. Would you like to introduce yourself and where you're from?
Well, for those who have missed the first segment, I did introduce myself then. My name is Michael Parrish. I work with Ministry of Marine Resources in the Cook Islands. A lot of the work that I do is a lot shallower, so I tend to focus on surveys down to 10 meters depth. So it's a little further outside my zone coming on board and jumping in with Nautilus, but this is my first time, and it's really exciting to be doing an ROV dive.
Oh, wow. So both Kahana and Mike's first time on a research vessel?
Not the first time on a research vessel, but first time for deep sea, yes.
Oh, right on. Well, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here finally.
So this will be your first time seeing the deep sea of the Cook Islands?
Pretty much. I was paying attention when you guys did the first dive on the first leg of the Cook Islands.
Okay, nice.
But
well, I'm glad you're watching, so you'll be able to catch things fast.
I was just a voice on the science portal then.
Oh, right on, right on. Thank you.
So how long have you been living on the Cook Islands?
About 4.5 years now. Yeah, I moved across with my wife, and we've been there since, pretty much.
Awesome.
Where did you come from before that?
Before Cook Islands, I spent 7.5 years in Hawaii. And then before that, I grew up in Indiana. Hawaii was for university and happily stayed a little while longer afterwards. It's a beautiful island.
Hard to leave.
It is very hard to leave.
And then you had TJ, Tanga, and Anthony Ants join you yesterday?
Yep. So Tonga will be joining us, I think, for the next round of our observations that we're doing.
Yeah,
that's
right.
And she works with seabed minerals. So she's going to be, I guess, another one of the data loggers for our group. Ants works with Tuponovai Marama, which is a research group in the Cook Islands that works with the university. So
Awesome.
he, I think, is on the I think he's on the next stretch. So everyone will get to see him here very soon again if they were not paying attention a few hours ago.
Oh yeah, 8 to 12.
I'll
That's
be
great.
on the communications side of things.
Taken over from
Yep.
Yep.
He'll be doing communications, a little bit of outreach. I think tomorrow he's got some web interactions.
Nice.
Gets to communicate with everyone around the U.S.
Are you adjusting well to the vessel?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Awesome.
I haven't had too much in the way of issues with any seasickness, which is always a happy thing.
That's right.
Yeah,
For sure.
seriously.
I think the biggest adjustment is always sleeping when you're rolling.
Trying to wedge yourself in. No more roly-poly.
Yep.
Last night felt a little bit rough for me.
It was tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Good to know.
It was tricky to stay still. Yeah, I've done, while we were waiting between dives and doing the personnel transfer, I started making a list of the animals that we encountered on the long dive at the Knowles site, L1007. And I, by far, am underestimating the number of taxa that we encounter, but biodiversity is something that we're looking into, and when we have experts on the shore help us annotate the imagery in the future, the numbers will go up. But we had at least 36 different types of animals encountered, and that number is only likely to grow when I dig more into the sponges that we looked at. But the images that Mikhail was talking about were tremendously valuable in trying to discern one animal from another and look at the different fine scale characteristics that we need to use to further identify the different corals and sponges. And I was super pumped, super excited to see the benthic siphonophore that we encountered. It's within the group Cnidaria, and it's one that basically attaches its different appendages to the seafloor, and looked kind of like a spider in a spider web. So looking back through the imagery has been really tremendously valuable, but also kind of fun. Get to make some interesting observations and get to start gathering the data and an understanding of what we see in front of us here in the Cook Islands.
The beauty of a high quality camera.
For sure. Invaluable.
Yeah, we had a question from someone tuning in for the first time. Do you see many things while the vessel is descending, or are most creatures on or near the seafloor?
It's a good question. It is something that varies depending on where we are. Right now, what we're looking at is primarily what's called marine snow. It's particulate organic matter. A lot of it is plankton poop, as well as houses of marine organisms and bodies of different organisms that basically fall out through the water column. And that's also what's called phytodetritus. So this is phytoplankton, is algae that's produced in the surface ocean through photosynthesis. And then it basically, when it dies, when algae dies, it starts to decompose and sink. And in many cases, the decomposing algae and the fecal pellets and the dead animals will sort of kind of create these clusters or aggregates, and they sink faster. So that's sometimes what we see. We also see occasionally swimmers, and those include different kinds of crustaceans, so shrimp and copepods. We've also seen a few jellies, different types of jellies. And what else have you all observed so far today? Anything else? Fish? A few fish maybe wandering in and out? There's some midwater fish that are very plentiful in some water masses in the world, and they basically specialize on capturing that food at the midwater that's produced in the surface and rains out to the seafloor. They catch it on the way down, and they make sure they capitalize on that food source. So sometimes we'll see different fish kind of darting in and out as we descend. If we were to stop the vehicles, which I'm not asking for you guys to do, but if we were to stop the vehicles and just shine our light, sometimes we'll get some organisms that are highly attracted to the lights and be able to visualize some more of those animals.
We have one more question here. Hi, Tim. Do you have an, oops, let's see. Do you have an altimeter or downward looking sonar to see bottom coming up? Or do you rely on the ship's sonar for seabed depth?
Good question. So before we start the dive, we rely on the ship's sonar, and they generally map out the whole area first. But when we're diving, we do have an altimeter, but it's, I believe, 50 meters range, so somewhere around 50 meters range. So we don't really see anything until we're within 50 meters of the seabed, but we know what depth to start expecting it at.
Yeah. We have about 1 more hour of descent. It's been 30 minutes since we started the shift, so
sounds about right.
According to plan.
We're not there yet, everybody.
For those people just joining, we're planning to go to 5,000 meters, which is the deepest this ROV has gone. Is that correct?
That is what the first group was saying.
Somebody said that. Somebody said that there was a rumor.
Yeah, I think they were saying that that's the deepest that this ROV has gone. So.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
And the camera.
Yeah, it'll be the deepest for Little Herc, but not the deepest for Atalanta.
Got it.
Okay, Atalanta's gone.
Atalanta's gone to 5,400 meters before.
Oh, wow.
And the deepest dive that Little Herc has done, it was the last dive we did, 4,500 meters.
Oh, wow. Setting records. That's exciting.
And it's on my birthday, too.
Wow, very special.
What a gift.
So if you get a birthday wish, what creature do you want to see down there?
Yeah.
There you go.
Another octopus.
Yeah. I can't wait for us to find out what that is. I think we have some folks taking a look at the imagery, get a better understanding. It looks a lot like another octopus that was imaged off of Hawaii. I believe Deep Discoverer did that cruise on the Okeanos. And it was an octopus that they're calling Casper.
Oh yeah, Casper the Ghost.
Yeah. It's kind of fitting since it's October near Halloween. But I'm not an octopus expert. There are a lot of similarities between what we saw and what was previously called Casper. That one, as far as I know, that one hasn't been further identified or classified. So maybe a new species, I don't know. Pretty exciting, but Halloween being around the corner, maybe we'll see another Casper.
Yeah, a lot of the animals at the sea bottom are kind of spooky. Like that article that came out about the eyeless or faceless fish?
Faceless fish, right?
Yeah.
Yep, we saw a few of those on our last dive.
Yeah.
The faceless cusk eel.
Yeah, that was neat.
Spooky. Someone said looked like Casper, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. We'll see. Jury's still out.
Someone said, I notice a lot of bubbles on Little Herc's camera. Is this site expected to be volcanically active? Is that biomass or marine snow, or is it just trapped air releasing?
Well, what I'm seeing in front of me is primarily marine snow. A lot of those particulates or particles that we're seeing kind of flying by the camera are, again, that material that is feeding the seafloor animals. This area, as far as I know, isn't known to be volcanically active. The area that we're diving in is considered an abyssal plain and maybe primarily composed of sediments and possibly manganese nodules. And as far as anything else, I think, yeah, we're not expecting any kind of bubble activity indicative of volcanoes or like hydrocarbon seeps, for example. We're not in that kind of environment.
Yeah, we have another question about the marine snow.
Oh.
Are the white particles on the screen static or flowing up? The camera is descending, so it could be an illusion that they're flowing up. Can't tell.
So yes, the camera is descending, the vehicle is descending, and the particles they're also descending, but very slowly at a slower rate. So it does look like they're flying up ahead of us, up above us, but we're actually flying down super fast relative to their speed.
It's pretty cool that there's snow in the water.
I know.
It's like those globes you have when you're a kid.
Yeah, you shake them up. It's floating all around.
A question for Tim. Hey, Tim. When you hit 5K
Tim's
meters,
famous.
is it life you're looking for or minerals?
Can you repeat the question again?
They said, hey, Tim, when you hit 5K is it life you're looking for or minerals?
I think this is mostly a biology survey. We're just doing an environmental assessment, really. So I think they pretty much know that there's minerals down there. I think one of the science people can answer that better than I can.
So I think for this one is we are actually pretty much looking at everything. Not necessarily any one thing in particular, but anything and everything. So as far as the minerals that are down there, we're looking at the density of them. And for life, we are looking at what kind of life is down there, what type of creatures, and just seeing, I guess, any density, any common similarities between there and other regions as well.
That's good. Good explanation. I think one of the factors we'll be looking at is how if we encounter manganese nodules, we'll be looking at their relative density, so how many we're finding per square meter. And that information is really useful for when we're trying to understand the distribution of the fauna, the animals that we're talking about, these megafauna. There are organisms that are tightly associated or known to be tightly associated with nodule environments. We are really investigating this region for the very first time. So every time we do ocean exploration of the seafloor, in particular on the Cook Islands, we're learning something new. And we can use that information to better characterize the distribution of species across the region and across broader areas, and better understand how these different environments, these different abyssal deep sea environments are connected, and whether we're seeing the same types of organisms in one place or another. We're still learning so much by exploring the seafloor that we're really at the edge of understanding how these animals are distributed and who they are. And so every time we get a chance to go and dive, we're learning something new.
Yeah, it seemed from the last dive, I mean, we can't draw any conclusions yet, but there were certain areas where we saw more of one species.
Yeah, and there was also a really interesting, what I'll call complexity in the seafloor environments, right? So there was, in some places we were finding nodules and high densities. In other places it was, pillow lava with some sort of hills and valleys, and those valleys had either sediment or accumulated nodules or nodules and clusters. And it was really amazing how we covered so much various terrain over such a relatively short duration, a short length. So all of that provides us with a better understanding of how these organisms may be associated with the seafloor environments and how they're distributed in space.
Yeah, I think it was helpful that we were able to go to so many different environments.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely gave me a better appreciation for what we might find on these subsequent dives. And I think I wasn't expecting to see so many different animals. I know there's, in general, high diversity in the deep, but the fact that we encountered so many different organisms on one dive over this really discrete area of the seafloor was really incredible and exciting.
Yeah, it was great to see how much control the ROVs had to be able to stop.
Yeah, and take
when we
really
wanted
good
them
pictures.
to.
Yeah,
That was great. And zoom in and focus.
Okay.
it was a well choreographed
Right.
operation, I'd say, for sure. It was tricky to watch. I'm glad that I don't have to do that. Make me
Okay, yeah.
nervous.
Right. Is there a GUI for Atalanta specifically? Because you're still in the Herc GUI, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So Michael, when you agreed to join this expedition, NA 176, what were you most excited about?
Well, honestly, a large portion of it, a large portion of my excitement was actually to do with something completely different than my work. So I never really make it beyond 50 meters from my work. And 50 meters is only for one temperature sensor that we've got deployed. So we've been doing a little bit of work with a mesophotic reef just to kind of see any impacts of bleaching that might happen in comparison to the shallow reef nearby. But again, that's only as far as 50 meters. So everything beyond that is something I've not seen or studied very much of. So everything that we see down beneath is something that's going to be completely new to me. So that's what I've been excited for. I like seeing things that are mostly unknown and stuff that is different from everyday experiences.
Could I get some other people in the room? What were you most excited about when it came to this expedition?
I don't know about this particular one, but in general, I can kind of piggyback off what Michael said. It's the desire to explore and the like, I mean, I don't know. I always have like a large curiosity about the unknown and what's behind the other door or wall. So things like this just really kind of, you know, shine in that aspect where we can explore things that have never been seen before. I don't know, I akin to doing deep sea exploration, very similar and parallel with, you know, going to space or exploring the stars. There's a lot that we just don't know about, and there's a lot of parallels there that I think are, yeah, interesting. So.
Amanda? I think you've got the most experience of everyone back here so far.
Yeah, so this is actually brand new territory for me as well. I've done a lot of research in the deep sea and have been on a number of expeditions, but these are the deepest depths that I've ever embarked on. So I think what's really incredible is how little we know. As Mikhail said, we know very little about what we may find on the abyssal plain or other environments. We know only what we've seen in other places, in other parts of the world. So I love the idea of being able to explore and investigate a place for the first time. And we get to do that pretty much every day at sea here. And for me, I'm excited about just looking for and examining what we see. I think we have a good chance to really add to our understanding of the abyssal plain today on this dive. And for the Cook Islands in particular, every day that we're diving and investigating the seafloor, we're adding to our knowledge for this region, which is really incredibly valuable to me as a scientist, but also to our partners. So very thrilled. We did a dive. I was on an Alvin cruise in June to the Aleutian Island archipelago, and it was on the mothership Atlantis. And the Alvin is a submersible that holds 3 people, a human-occupied vehicle. And our deepest dive on the Alvin was over 3,300 meters, so over 2 miles deep. And all of us, the people who were diving in the Alvin that day, we weren't anticipating that they would find very much. But when they came back with their video and photographs, they found some amazing deep sea corals that were as tall as the Alvin. So it was just incredible to see these living beings, these organisms that are attached to the seafloor, bamboo coral that's, you know, super tall, taller than I am, and I know I'm not that tall, but and growing at these depths. And it just goes to show that there's a lot of life down here, and they're thriving on this marine snow that we're seeing as we're descending through the water column. And that marine snow in particular was sufficient and consistent enough for that coral to keep growing year after year, bit by bit, to be this tremendously enormous beast. We've seen a few different kinds of cold water or deep sea corals so far on the Knowles dive the other day, and at least a few different species that we've seen in other parts of the globe and other deep sea environments. So each record, each observation is adding to our understanding of their distribution and possible connectivity within the broader Pacific.
So how many regions have you actually done or participated in ROV dives?
I've been to a number of different places in the Pacific Ocean. Worked heavily in the Gulf as well as the U.S. Atlantic. Have yet to work in the Indian Ocean. And I've done deep sea work off of Antarctica.
Wow. Out of all of the ROV dives you've done so far, do you have a favorite location? Like something that you just, that sticks out to you, like I remember that dive specifically because of this?
That's really hard. There's a lot of really highlights. A lot of highlights out there. We had we've had a lot of really great adventures in the deep sea. The Aleutians project was really incredible. I would say that that was a highlight of my career, to be able to dive at offshore in an area that again, we're still learning how those environments are thriving and what's living there, and the rich biological communities that live there. Goodness, I was on an expedition to some marine national monuments on the Okeanos in 2017, and we had this encounter with this shrimp that was basically eating a fish, and it became this viral video because it was, basically a huge predatory attack. It's rare that we get to see predation. That kind of behavior is so few and far between. We get to visualize that. And so it was incredibly visual and exciting. But we did this dive off the East Coast in the Atlantic Canyons, and I can't tell you exactly what depth it was. I want to say it was around 1,000 meters or so, and that also was on the Okeanos. And there was something that we kind of all of us saw out of the corner of our eye, sort of a shadow, and then this Greenland shark starts swimming by the front of the vehicle, and that was absolutely incredible. This animal is humongous and so large. It just basically took up the entire video screen, and some experts on the shore side gave an estimate for how old that shark was based on past experience and information and data, and it was over 200 years old. So for these, amazing creatures to be swimming around us, incredibly long-lived, it's just such a gift to be down here working with you all and getting to see these exciting sights. And I'm going to just keep thinking of other places that I've been to that I think were incredible. But that was really captivating, and we got some great video of the shark, and that kind of experience is something that I'll always remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to ask, because most people, they think of countries that they've been to, and they think of locations within those countries, and they're just like, oh yeah, this place was really cool for this reason, but not very many people have seen different segments of the ocean floor, even across the Pacific.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the people in this room, I think combined, might have seen a big chunk of the world's ocean.
That's right.
A small chunk, but a lot more than most.
A lot more than most, but it's a teeny tiny chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very small pieces of it at a time.
Do you have a memorable moment, Dave?
The first time that I sailed was on the University of Washington ship, the Thompson. We were off Vancouver Island, and we went to the Endeavour vent field.
Oh, yeah.
I saw my first Dumbo octopus. I got to see hydrothermal vents, tube worms, and all the various other things that crawl around on them, crabs, scale worms, that kind of stuff. We were shooting with an HD camera for the first time in that area, and one of the first times ever with an HD camera. This was 20 years ago, and that is still very, very memorable. That was my first exposure to this whole thing.
And it kept you coming back.
Yeah, evidently. It's a lot of fun. I'm the dumbest guy on the boat.